Welcome to Tuesday Newsday, your number one resource for the entire week's worth of VR news. There is so much VR hardware on its way. For pretty much all of 2021 and most of 2020, we've been staring at the same lineup with not much that's really new. And that's about to change. From a super tiny micro OLED PC VR headset with a standalone companion to really in-depth Quest Plus and Quest Pro leaks to the Valve Deckard and actually more, if you've been waiting to upgrade your VR setup or just like VR technology in general, this is gonna be a fun few months for you. I've honestly never seen the industry heat up like this with so many players, and we've got a lot to cover, so let's just get right into the news. So let me just clarify on a few things first. Some of these headsets are totally confirmed. They may be a little weird, but it's actual factual news, and some of these are leaks, like the Quest Plus, and there's actually even more that I can't talk about yet because of NDAs and embargoes. Just there's a lot coming. And when we get into leak territory, just be aware that these are leaks. They could be 100% on point correct, but they could also be part of some mass conspiracy fake news thing, so take it with a grain of salt and don't shoot the messenger. I'm gonna start today with probably the weirdest one, but also, if it turns out to be good, kind of one of the most exciting headsets out there. Arpara is kind of a newcomer to the US VR scene, and they've announced two new headsets. One, a very small form factor, super high resolution micro OLED display PC VR headset, and another small form factor, high resolution micro OLED standalone headset. Let's talk about this standalone headset first before I oogle about how amazing it would be to have a tiny PC VR headset. This is the Arpara 5K AIO, or all-in-one. According to their website, it's a headset coming soon that's available to pre-order or reserve right now, and it meets all specs that I'd expect out of a new headset. It's got a Qualcomm XR2, same as the Quest 2, camera tracking up to 120Hz refresh rate, but most interestingly, it's rocking a resolution of 2560 by 2560 per eye in micro OLED displays with a pretty standard field of view of 95 degrees. Now, that alone was enough to pique my interest because micro OLEDs really make everything in VR look so much better. Pixels are completely invisible, colors are more vivid, and blacks are truer due to the nature of OLED. But one of the biggest things is without big LCD panels and lenses, you can cut down on the form factor of a headset significantly. I mean, just take a look at this thing. If you thought a Quest 2 was small, this thing is tiny and it's really light. Arpara has not given a date, and this is where things get sketchy. The website is pretty objectively terrible, and they're asking for a reservation similar to the reservation of a Steam Deck, except it's not Valve, and this is a random company. And the full price of this standalone headset will be $599. I'm really more interested in where this company is going to get its standalone game catalog and software catalog, since, well, Oculus kinda has that segment dominated. But this is very interesting nonetheless, and I did get an email from the company asking if I want to review them, so I'd say whatever you do not go and buy this thing or the next one I talk about, because that's way more exciting until I or someone else has these in hand. I have never tried a headset from them, and I have no clue if they're good or bad. The next big headset from Arpara is really only interesting because it's small. This is their PC VR headset, and the form factor, resolution, and price are really cool. The same 120Hz 2560 by 2560 micro OLEDs are here, but this PC VR headset is tiny and light, which is something I'm looking for in a PC VR headset, especially when using it for hours at a time. For context, the Valve Index weighs 809 grams. This Arpara 5K micro OLED weighs 200 grams, and it's being sold for $399. There's one weird catch though. It's not entirely clear how this is tracked. I mean, their previous headset used NOLO tracking, which I'm historically not a huge fan of. But here they say, quote, with common VR positioning devices on the market, such as base stations and controllers of HTC Vive 1.0/2.0 and Valve Index, all you need is another Arpara tracker pairing with Arpara 5K VR headset to upgrade your VR experience to another level, end quote. I don't know what an Arpara tracker is, but I can see a phone and I start sweating. If this headset is SteamVR tracked, and if it is legit, then this sounds amazing, and it's something I could see myself even using daily. But I won't know until I have one in hand, and it's unfortunate that this whole thing does seem a little sketchy. But an announcement is an announcement. Now, let's talk about the practically confirmed but still just a leak Quest 2 Plus and Quest 2 Pro. I've been talking about leaks for weeks now, and they're all coming together in ways I didn't expect. Let's start from the top. A while ago, I got a message regarding a survey website that was showing a VR VR headset that looked like this with controllers that looked like this, assumed to be a future Oculus headset. Then a guy claiming it came to him in a dream, which at this point I'm taking as code for I can't tell you my source, posted on Reddit a ton of very specific details regarding a new Oculus headset's camera specifications and controller designs. Alone, neither of these mean anything, but together, they make a lot more sense. On top of that, actual pictures leaked showing these controllers that we've been looking at in renders, and these controllers are very interesting, and I think I need to clear some stuff up. Right now, Oculus Touch controllers track using the headset cameras and flashing lights on the tracking ring. This works fine, as you already know, but it means that if the headset can't see your controllers, then they're not being tracked at all. If you remove the tracking ring and instead put cameras on the controllers, you hypothetically can have the same type of tracking you use for your headset for each controller, meaning you can have your controllers behind your back, over your head, straight behind you, it doesn't matter. There is a problem here though. The small amount of latency that is required to transmit data to the headset from the controllers to calculate tracking position introduces honestly too much latency. It doesn't work very well. So most of the tracking calculations for the controllers would have to be done on the controllers themselves having their own processor entirely. But it turns out there's actually a patent for that titled Image Data Sensor Compression, which details a system where a second compute unit captures image data, compresses it, and sends it to a headset to compute the rest of it, to mesh the tracking. On top of that, there's a very interesting method talked about in other patents that fill your space with a ton of beams of light that can be used to spatially map a play space through the cameras. Given all of this, I can come to a couple conclusions. Like I said, here's a grain of salt, take it, please. But also, don't go buying a Quest 2 right now, whatever you do. If you have a friend that's trying to buy one, just tell them to wait. In just 1 month, Facebook Connect is taking place, and at that event, it's likely that a Quest 2 Plus will be announced and possibly released. It's been mentioned before, and it goes along with Facebook's other hardware branding. It's likely that the Quest 2 Plus is a refresh of the Quest 2 with the same XR2, these new controllers, possible face and eye tracking, and slightly upgraded displays at the same current resolution with better contrast and black levels due to dual-layer LCD technology. It's also possible that the Quest 2 and Quest Plus could be sold side by side, with the Quest 2 dropping in price to as little as $200 or $250, and the Quest Plus being sold for $350. Although, to be real, the sketchiest part of this whole leak is the price. I'll also say, if you just got a Quest 2 and you're upset, I wouldn't be. This is just an iterative upgrade, and your Quest and the Quest Plus will run things the exact same. It's just a slightly better platform. And we still have a lot to talk about with Quest Pro and Valve Deckard, but now it's time for a meme break!
Do you have a favorite feature to use in here?
Yeah.
Something that you think is very cool?
Check this out.
Wow.
So that's pretty neat.
This is so freaking cool.
And now, back to the news. Okay, so I'll just quickly go through Quest Pro since I don't think it's going to be released at Facebook Connect, may be announced, but if you're looking for that true next-gen VR headset, this is probably the closest to it. A micro OLED panel was detailed in string at, get this, a resolution of 2784 by 3000, pushing the boundaries of even the Vario XR3 that I just covered last week. If this is the case and the Quest Pro is released with these specs shown with the possible Quest Plus with the higher resolution and the small form factor due to micro OLED and micro OLED displays, this is going to be a very capable VR headset and likely one of, if not the best headsets on the market for its cost. I'm still hoping for color pass-through on both devices, as experiencing really good mixed reality for the first time got me super excited about the technology, but anything is possible. And as of now, it looks like Quest Pro is Quest Plus with better displays and possibly a different form factor, so we'll have to see. Now let's talk about the Valve Deckard. So I've been working closely with Sadly It's Bradley lately, and I gotta say, he's been doing amazing work uncovering all of these things regarding Valve's next headset. Without his and a few others' work, we would know significantly less about Valve's next projects. But let's move on to his and others' findings and a short recap. Basically, all of these literal dozens of patents are starting to add up. From varifocal displays that vastly improve the visuals and depth perception and colors within headsets, further backed by investments by Valve in a company that does exactly that, to the x86 Linux-based standalone nature of the Steam Deck and all of these VR patents, and Valve's investment in x86 and Linux, and all of these VR patents that say word for word exactly what I just said. To predictive rendering, dual tracking methods, micro OLED displays, and even rumors of Half-Life Alyx running natively on this headset, Valve has something very special that they're working on, and they've either purposely been dropping hints or someone's being very sloppy over at Valve. Even on the software side, between Prism and something called Standalone System Layer, it's fair to say that this is actually happening, and I'm relatively confident that no matter how good the Quest Pro is, which it'll likely be really good, the Index 2 or Deckard will likely be able to hold its own. The only problem is that we may be a little further out from an announcement or release than I originally thought. I was hoping for a holiday announcement and release later next year, but there's really no saying. All there is to say is the technology going into this headset is game-changing and really exciting. And if you want a full 16-minute breakdown of it, I'll link Bradley's video down below. Also, staying on Valve for a moment, multiple people have gotten VR working on the Steam Deck. It is confirmed VR works. Sort of. Denny from Cloudhead Games made a short video showing that VR apps will run and tracking works as intended, but as of now, things just don't work fully properly. Like, there's no display on the headset when plugged into the Steam Deck at the moment. And a lot of work is going to have to be done to make it work as you'd expect VR to work. But hey, it shows potential. HTC had a surprise announcement for something, as it also registered Vive Flow as a trademark. Nothing else is really said here, as the only thing to go off of is a picture of what looks like a small can, but HTC also said they'll be making a formal announcement on what this big thing is on October 14th, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see what that's all about. Jesus, that was a crazy hardware episode of Tuesday Newsday. We talked so much, but there's a lot more that happened that's not hardware related, and I'll be talking about it on my Twitch stream today. It's like an extended Tuesday Newsday. And I'll also be showing off the Vario XR3 on stream, so come on by and say what's up. But we're still doing question of the week from Tom. What is the coolest feature you'd like to see added in all consumer headsets and why? And this is going to be a weird answer, but I'm just going to give you my full headset that I want. The biggest thing I want to see from a consumer headset is really specific, but I also want this headset to be able to be available to everybody. My dream is a micro OLED VR headset for deep blacks and high pixel density, a wider FOV than the Index, a good microphone, lighter weight, face tracking, eye tracking, or similar technology, RGB pass-through, and to have hybrid tracking, Steam VR, and camera tracking. And cost less than $1,000, because I think it would really change the entire social landscape of VR if everybody had this technology and better displays in general. I know I'm not easy to please, and I doubt that I'll ever get that, but hey, a guy can dream. If you're looking for cool VR people to talk about this exciting VR stuff, then join up in my Discord server. It's always a good time. I want to say thank you to all of my Patreon supporters, especially my Omegas like Akuric, Benji, Biz, Buwutsi, Destroyer Biscuit, Dysfunctional Potat, Electro Master, Flaming Dragon, Furtrap, HGG Randon, Henry B, It's Lumi VR, Jonathan, Com, Lashon, Lucid VR, Mud King, Ronzarelli, That Brock Guy, and Variable Shadow. I couldn't do any of this without you. Don't forget to like this video if you loved it, subscribe if you want more of this, and hit that freaking bell if you just can't live without it. Much love, Thrill out.